Hi everyone, it's Ola Sulaiman and it's 12:02 now. I'm sorry I'm 2 minutes late. On today's live show, I'll be talking about VAT registered business owners. 7 common mistakes they make when they're submitting their VAT returns. You might think this does not concern me, but usually what I say is knowledge is power. You don't know, maybe in the nearest future you'll be VAT registered, and for me what I say is for every tax knowledge you don't have, that's money you're losing. Either you're paying too much, you're paying too less, too little, or someone's coming to charge you for not doing the right thing in future. However, before I start this program today, my name is Ola Sulaiman. Hi, Franco. My name is Ola Sulaiman. I'm based in Northampton. I'm a chartered accountant. I've been running my business for the past 6, going to 7 years now. I advise small business and medium business in their tax issues, in their accounting issues, ensuring that their work is done in a timely manner and they pay the right amount of tax. However, on this show, because I know you're spending your time trying to watch this program, I should invest a bit in my personal life as well. So I usually talk about what has happened in the last 1 week. God, it's been a very, very busy week, I have to say. Congratulations to all my friends and business friends that won an award yesterday. I couldn't go. Congratulations, Jazz, everyone, well done. But I think it was Wednesday now. Was it Wednesday? Yeah. I had to go for 2 networking sessions, and it was so interesting because the first one was fantastic, done by Lisa Type, talking about Instagram, and then the second one again was another networking again. So it was just non-stop, and then I went from there going for swimming lessons. Now, if you're just hearing me for the first time, I have been talking about swimming lessons because I'm learning how to swim so as to raise money for the food bank and my foundation that I founded to help small children in primary schools to make school more fun, more interesting for them in Nigeria. So, my swimming instructor have come to say, oh, I know you can swim now, but I'm trying to refine your swimming techniques. Oh my God, that's very, very hard, I have to say. Anyway, we've got a lot to talk about VAT today, so I'm just going to go into the talk. Please pardon me, it's been a very, very tiring week. Now, I usually say something as well, that the reason why I do this show is because I'm trying to create awareness for tax issues in the UK. A lot of people several times have told me that I didn't know about it, that's why I've done the wrong thing. However, in law, not knowing about it is not an excuse. You still get penalized to some extent, depending on how it happens. So because of this, I see several mistakes that are done all the time by different business owners, at times intentional, at times not intentionally. So because of this, I try to create this awareness. And then if this sounds like something that relates to you, then you should go and get professional help. Because the way it works is that you declare this mistake or they find you out. And when they find you out, you're on the other side, and then you're literally begging for the mercy, kind of. So if you think any of these affect you, get help. Not necessarily me, but get help. And the reason why I do these videos now is every time I meet someone, they say, oh, I've just started my new business. I need more knowledge. What should I do? How should I go about it? On my YouTube channel now, I've got about 43 videos of tax videos for businesses in the UK. I think that's the best resources that I've made in a very long time. I've started doing this video since 2017-ish, and it's kind of piled up all over the time. And it talks about different things, how your tax is calculated, how your self-assessment, different things. So if you'd like to watch any of those videos, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Ronzl Accountants Limited, and just subscribe, because what happens is every time I do these live ones, I then upload it later on my YouTube channel for people to watch later. So I'm just going to jump into this talk today, which is a live one. So last week I started talking about VAT. Value added tax in UK is a tax that we all pay, kind of. Most of us do, because When you buy food, hot food, you've paid VAT on it. When you buy petrol, you've paid VAT on it. When you get services done, you pay VAT on it. So because of this, last week I was talking about different types of VAT that we pay. Some at 20%, some at 0%, some at 5%, the reduced rate one. Why we should pay VAT, why we shouldn't pay VAT, why if you should be registered for VAT or not. But because I've got so much to talk to you about today, I'm just going to go on to talk about 7 common mistakes that business owners make. Now, this video will relate more to people that are thinking of registering for VAT or are already VAT registered. So, whichever the case may be, if this is what you've done, do something about it ASAP. Now, the first one. If you're watching for the first time, I'll keep looking down because I've written down lots of things I would like to talk about. The first one is you have people that are VAT registered. I know all business owners too have to do this, but this is more strict. This is more stricter with people that are VAT registered. Not keeping proper record of their expenses, of their transactions. Those transactions that is in their VAT returns. Now, because the VAT returns has your sales, your purchases, the ones that have gone to EU, the one that you're trying to deduct, your input VAT, your output VAT. Now, because they know it's possible to put stuff in that might not really relate to what has happened, you are, according to the law, expected to keep every transaction properly for at least 6 years of all those transactions that is in your VAT returns. Now, I know I said this to a lot of people that even HMRC can come and investigate you. It's very possible. However, with VAT people, it's even 60% more likely to be investigated by them. And I think the reason is because it's about money. There are money that you're holding. There are money that you need to return back to them. So they need to be sure that the right amount is going to the right place. So you're supposed to keep your receipt of all the purchases you've made, the ones that you're trying to claim the VAT back on. Last week I said you claim back VAT on every transaction that someone charges you. That's one of the perks of being VAT registered. So if I go because I'm VAT registered, if I go and buy petrol, I can claim back the VAT back because I'm VAT registered for business. Now, so because of that, not keeping those records is very, very you're getting yourself into trouble. Now, the other thing is, I know I said this most of the time, that bank statements are very good record. You can keep your bank statement. As much as it's a very good record, for VAT is not good enough. Remember, what they're trying to do is to see the VAT transactions. However, I think the banks, they've now understood this part as well. So some bank statement would actually, I've seen 1 or 2 recently, they will analyze the VAT aspect of the transaction. So for those ones, your bank statement is good enough, because if you have a bank statement that is saying that you've paid £20 VAT, you've collected £20 VAT, so that's kind of record as well, that's shown the exact amount for the transaction. So not keeping those records for 6 years is like you're getting yourself into trouble. I know it's the same for corporation tax anyway. It's the same if you're running business, you are supposed to be keeping your record. But I'm saying that for VAT, you're even more risk for not doing it. So that's the very, very first one. You're supposed to keep your record for 6 years. And if it's a serious investigation, for 20 years or more. Now, the second one, and this one is very, very common. That invoice you're giving your clients, because you're VAT registered, it has to have some certain information according to the law. It's not because you just feel like. Now, if you're not VAT registered, you can just issue someone invoice. Oh, this is for service you've done, £50. You don't need to put the date in if you like. You can get away with it. You don't need to put anything. You don't need to put the address, which are things that ideally would be on invoice. However, for VAT, you are supposed to put some details on that VAT invoice, or else it won't serve as VAT. And that's why we go to petrol station. At times they'll say, do you want VAT invoice? Do you want VAT receipts? The reason why they've asked the question is because that VAT receipt has some information that a normal receipt would not have. And what are this information? And this is for someone that is VAT registered or planning to be VAT registered, under your invoice, this information should be on it. First of all, your invoice number, obviously, but at times it might not be there. The date that you're supplying this item, the date that you've done this service, because that will determine when you should be claiming the VAT, when you should be paying the VAT output VAT. So that's one of the things they're trying to pick up from that. The supplier's names and address. Last week I said the way VAT works is like a circle. VAT will give me money. I will charge my client money, 20%, and then I'm supposed to go and give the money back to HMRC. And I'm not giving them back the old 20% because I bought something and I want to claim it. That person I bought from as well is supposed to then go and collect back from HMRC. So it has to be a circle. So if you then are trying to claim VAT and then you don't have details of who you're trying to supply to, in fact, if someone is supplying you as well, you should check their invoice and make sure that their details is on as well. Their suppliers, their name, their address, their VAT registration number. Because you'll be surprised, a lot of people will tell you I'm VAT registered so that they can get that extra amount, and they are not actually VAT registered. So you need to make sure that you make sure that that invoice they've given you has got VAT number on it. And if you're still not sure, then you need to go and probably find out and see if they are or not. Because like I said last week, I keep going back to last week, probably because it's both VAT. There's this person that I'm working with recently that collected VAT from somebody, a supplier, and then has not given that VAT to HMRC. And HMRC has gone to that person that's given her the VAT money and say, who did you pay that money to? Now, imagine if this person did not have the details of this contractor that she's giving this money to. So they've traced this person by going to the person that have tried to claim the money back. So it's like a circle. So because of this, that's why this information is very, very important for you to have it on your VAT, on your invoice. The name of the address of whom the item is being sent to, the quantity of the goods, the rate of the VAT that you've applied on. Last week I talked about a different rate for different items. So they want to be sure that you're not trying to claim 20% for something you've paid 5% on, like electricity. It's very, very easy to mix these things up because probably your accountant didn't know that you've paid 5% VAT rather than 20%. So that's why that invoice is very, very important. The rate of good that the rates that you've applied, the amount that you've charged, the total amount that you've charged. I know this looks like things that are obvious, that it will be obviously there. However, still, according to law, you should have it. So if you don't have these things, you should go and check. That takes me to number 3. Oh my God, I'm going to 7 as well. Alright. The third common error is when we are VAT registered business owners, we buy stuff for our business purpose, and then we then use those stuff for our personal use. Now, in that case, what's happened is you've gone to HMRC and say, I've paid £20, I've been charged £20 for this item. So can you give me my £20 back because I'm VAT registered? And then you've taken that item that you've claimed £20 back on and go and use it for yourself. So it's like HMRC is the one paying for your VAT, and that annoys them a lot. So the most common people that this affects is people that sell items, shops or things. Yeah. So just think about anything in your business that you've claimed VAT on and then you've used it for private purpose. Another example for that is petrol. When we buy petrol and we claim VAT back, and then we then use the money and then we use some of that petrol for private use. That's a very complicated talk, and I don't think I have 15 minutes for it. So that should ring a bell. Anything that you've claimed VAT on and then you've gone use for private use, how can you correct this? It's supposed to be like self-supply. So whatever that, so this is to prevent this happening in future. So whatever that you've bought and you've claimed VAT on, what you then need to do is to charge yourself VAT for that item. So it's like you're giving HMRC back that £20. Okay, fine, you give me that £20. I've used 5 of it for my private use. I'm charging myself. So it's called deemed supply. Now, deep supply does not only affect when you use things for private purpose. Also, when you gift some of your things to things that you've charged VAT on, or that you've already claimed VAT input VAT on. For example, if I bought books, cups, what can I buy again? And then I bought it to sell. I don't even sell cups. Well, that's a bad example. However, let's say I'm a shop owner and I've bought things I'm planning to sell. I've already claimed the input VAT, and then my friend comes to visit, or my mom, hello, and I say, oh, mom, thanks for visiting. Have some of these things. Normally, I would have, that's my money that is going because I bought it to be able to sell it again. However, there's an aspect of that money that is HMRC. So what they're saying is that amount, you should actually charge yourself VAT for that amount that you're giving that your friend or your mom or your family member. It might be a business gift. However, the only condition for business gift is if the item is less than £50, if it costs you less than £50, just like it applies to all the accounting rule for business gift anyway. The item must be advertising your business. It must cost you less than £50, must be advertising your business, and it must be for furtherance of your business. So, except if my mother can prove that the reason why I've given her the cup is to advance my business and it hasn't cost £50, and the reason why I'm giving her is not because she's a family member, yeah, that's fine. I don't need to worry about that. But that's very, very common in tradesmen when they buy things that they want to use. They've claimed VAT on it, and then they go on and then use it for private purpose or use it and give it to other people. That could be an error that could cause problem for you in the nearest future. And that will take me to the next one, number 4. This is very common as well. Now, a lot of people register for VAT because probably they've gotten to the threshold. Last week I talked about the threshold. At that point, you were supposed to be VAT registered according to the law. ISAC. According to law, you're supposed to be VAT registered. Now, maybe along the line, business has gone down, or you don't feel it's not working the way you think it's working, and all of a sudden you're falling under the threshold, and then you want to deregister for VAT. You're allowed to deregister for VAT. Now, to deregister for VAT, you'd have to submit your last return before you submit. However, this is the error. While you were still VAT registered, you've bought that computer, you've bought the van, even if it's an hire purchase, HMRC will let you get all the VAT back at that point in time. Now that you don't want to be VAT registered, you're still running the business, then you need to give HMRC back their money. That's just saying that in simple language. That money that you've collected from them, they want it back because you're not VAT registered again. You're of no use to them again. That money, they want it back. So how they do that is, on your last return, you need to calculate something that is called replacement cost. Replacement cost is whatever you're going to use in buying that particular item at that particular state at that particular time. So for example, a computer. So let's say my computer now, when I bought it, was £1,000. Okay, I've collected about £200 from HMRC. So it cost me 1,000 to 200 was VAT. They gave me the £200. Now at today, which is several years after I bought the computer, to buy a second-hand used computer, how much would I buy it? This particular one. So then I'll then charge myself VAT. I think it's a way of saying the market rate of that item at that point in time. So then you then need to, on your final return, give HMRC back their VAT return, VAT that you've received on that amount, on that computer or vans. And usually this money is always a lot of money as well. Imagine the VAT you get back on the van, or 2 vans, or 3 vans. That's a lot of money for them to just let go. So you need to do your final VAT, declaring all those things that you've claimed VAT on. Now you might say, I've done that, nobody's come for me. But usually, what I normally say to people is these things, they don't happen immediately. They don't come back for you like next year. They wait for you like 6 years. And it's always like Lego games. In Lego, you know those brick walls that you're setting up, and it's just one tiny part of it that will just shake, and everything will shake, and then they'll get to the point that you've submitted your last VAT returns without paying back the VAT that you've received. Now I have 10 more minutes. I have 3 more to talk about. Now the third one is when a VAT registered business owner give discounts to their clients based on satisfaction of a particular thing. Now, how do I explain this? So let's say I sell stuff and I say, okay, oh no, okay, my accountancy work. So I tell my clients that if you can pay me within the next 2 weeks, I would give you a discount of 10%. Now, what could happen with that? What could happen is that my client could decide to say, oh God, what's 10% discount? I'm not going to pay until 30 days. I need that money now. And then the amount I'm charging them is different from the amount that is the discounted amount. Now what HMRC is saying is, at that point in time, even when I've promised you that discount, the invoice I should give you should show the full amount that they're owing. So £1,000, you're owing me £1,000, invoice £1,000, 1,002. And then let's say in the next 10 days they decide to pay. I then need to give you another invoice to show the right amount this time, £800 or £900 plus VAT, right, and £1,000. The reason why they're trying to do this, they don't want people to be saying, oh, I thought my VAT that I'm getting back from HMRC is £200, when actually it wasn't £200. So just to be sure, and this I'm sure a lot of people do it. So if you're doing your, if you give discount based on the fact that a customer has to fulfill that based on a particular condition, then you should be ready to be issuing 2 invoices basically. One at a time when that invoice is due, and then one when they've actually fulfilled the item. Then you'll be able to claim the right amount of invoice. Number 6. Wow. When a business owner do not claim bad debt relief. Bad debt relief. Now, when you're running business, and I've got my own share of it at times too, someone is owing you money and then they decide that they don't want to pay you, or because of situation that happens, they don't pay you. Now, imagine me, and this doesn't happen like almost immediately, it happens over a period of time. So, imagine someone is owing me £1,000. I know they're going to pay me anyway because they always do. And then I've declared this money to HMRC that I've collected £200 VAT on this person. And then 7 months after this person have come and say, there's no way I can pay you this money. And I know that there's no way they can pay me as well. Now, accounting term, you can claim back that money as a bad debt claim or something. However, it's just the amount without the VAT. That VAT, that £200 that I've given HMRC already, is still hanging somehow. So, but because at times people don't know what they're entitled to or not, this is a tax relief, VAT relief, VAT tax relief. You can actually claim back that £200. And the way to do it is, it has conditions. You have to meet some certain conditions. You must have actually supplied this item to this client or customers. Number 2, you must have supplied it within, you must have accounted for this. So you must have submitted your VAT returns already. So if you've not submitted your VAT returns, why are you even worrying about it? You've not actually put the right amount in yet. You've not paid HMRC. So you must have actually submitted the VAT account and paid HMRC that money. And also, it must have happened after 6 months. There must be 6 months between when the invoice was issued and when you're trying to claim the bad debt relief. This is just to make sure that this money is not coming back no matter what happens. Because 6 months is a long time for you to be sure that you're not getting your money back. And then you can claim this money within 4 years of this actually happening. If 4 years have elapsed, you can't actually. 4 years and 6 months. Sorry, I forgot 6 months. 4 years and 6 months since that has happened. So if you meet, so within the 4 years, so you can't claim for something that's happened 4.5 years previously. That's what I'm trying to say. So this relief is there, and a lot of people don't claim it because they don't actually know about it. So if you've paid VAT on an item, on an invoice to HMRC, you've declared it, and all of a sudden this person has not paid you, this money has turned to bad debt, and then you're trying to claim the accounting bit, but there's still something that you're still missing. It's your bad debt relief. 5 more minutes. Submitting an incorrect VAT return. This is very, 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 very common. And I know we are all human beings. Trust me, even the accountants too, they do make mistake. The professional too do make mistake, and the reason is because they are human beings. There's still that human aspect of it that does the work. However, HMRC does not see it that way. The way they see is if there's an inaccuracy that is done deliberately or indeliberately due to careless. How do you define careless? I don't know. Due to careless action, then you'll pay penalty. Now, the way it works is if you've relied on someone like your accountant, and then they've gone on and they've done a mistake, and then what happens then is you face HMRC first, and when you finish facing them and paying the penalty, and then you go for your accountant. And like I usually say, God forbid if your accountant is not really an accountant, where you can report them to any authority, you don't know where the association they belong to, and then you'd have to go through more hoops to get your money back. Now, coming back to the error, it's possible to make error. However, the mistake is when you then make this error and you don't correct it. That is where you are doing the wrong thing. When you know that someone has submitted the VAT return for you and there's an error in it, and you just feel like, oh God, I hope I don't get caught. I don't need to do anything about it. Let me just forget about it. And you worry about it and you don't just want to bother yourself. Then that's the problem. So anytime you think there's an error in your VAT returns you've submitted, you should actually correct it. There are 2 ways of correcting it. First, you can actually write them a letter. I don't know if this still happens, but legislation says so. However, maybe this happened. You can write them a letter and say, there's an error in my VAT return, or you fill a form called Form 645. I wrote that down. Form 652. You fill the form and then you send it back to HMRC. You tell them the period that this has happened. However, you can actually correct it on your next VAT returns if the amount is less than £10,000, or if the amount is not more than 1% of your turnover. Yeah. So you can correct it on your error. Now you can say, oh, so why do I want to worry myself about all these things you've been talking about? I just want to use 2 minutes to remind you of what could happen if all these mistakes keep going on, if you get into trouble. Now, your penalty that you could get could be depending on how you behave with them. So usually when someone comes to me, I'll be like, oh, I've done something wrong, I think I'm in trouble with HMRC, or I'm being investigated by HMRC. I usually say, just raise up your hand and say it the way it is, because the penalty could be 30%, it could be 20%, it could be 0% because you picked up on the error yourself. 0% is a good one because you've corrected it yourself. 20% because probably you've cooperated, the investigator like you because you've helped their case. And you go up to 100% because you've falsified the document, you're trying to hide something, and the percentage will be applied on the amount that HMRC has lost, the potential lost revenue, that money that you should have paid. So let's say you should have paid, you're owing HMRC 200, the VAT return was incorrect for £200, yeah. So that £200 will be used with this percentage. So that could mean you pay that £200 plus another £200, or £200 plus 10%, 20%, 30%, depends on how you behave. So that's why it's very, very important to do the right thing. And when you find out about this wrong thing, correct it straight away, get help, so that this problem does not then turn to a major problem in future. Now I think that's 12:30. I hope this video would help someone. Thanks for everyone that have joined. I think I've got more people today. Thank you. I'm so happy. I'm going to eat more this afternoon. However, usually upload it as well on my YouTube channel for people that are at work, and for one reason or the other they can watch it. So I'll share the link later on. You can share it to your friends. All this information, I know a lot of people say tax is boring, that's why they don't want to worry themselves about it. But I think for me, it's not that boring because if I can get 1/HMRC because I've done the right thing. It's money we're talking about. So share this amongst your friends. You can subscribe. However, last 1 minute, I'm going to talk about my challenge in November. Please sponsor me. Please sponsor me. I'll keep putting the link out there. It's for the food bank. It's for children in school. And I'm doing an acronym, which is swimming 400 meters and running 5K. And I've only started learning how to swim about 7 weeks ago. So please, I'd really appreciate if you support me. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. One more time, thank you. Have a fantastic weekend. It's Ola Sulaiman, and this is the time when I smile while I'm switching off.